The purpose of this research is to evaluate a mobile application that could be used as a teaching tool for computer and information technologies to both young children and older adults. I will call computer and information technologies CITs from this point forward. With the number of applications available that serve a similar purpose in the app stores on both tablets and smartphone devices, it is hard to stand out at first glance and only after a few minutes of using these applications. Perception, rather than content quality, plays a big role in the adoption of these apps as teaching mechanisms. Teaching people of all ages technological expertise is not an easy task. People learning processes is different based on diverse conditions, like age, environment, or the amount of time devoted to an activity. Teaching kids through games is easier than doing so with the clear goal of getting a remunerated job in the future, for instance, which is the total opposite for a young adult. Designing a program to teach new technologies to a broad population section is, therefore, a challenging proposal. This is especially true for older generations who think they have nothing to gain by learning new technologies. According to the Pew Research Center, around 7% of North Americans don't even use the internet. Ever since I started studying computer engineering, people have asked me general questions about the basic use of computers. How do I do X? What happens if I don't install Y? What is the best equipment I can get under C amount? This experience is not atypical for anyone with a little verse of the computer world. But one thing that I began noticing, it's usually with my older relatives, that the kind of questions I would get would be related to very basic things, to the level of, how do I search something in Google? I always thought that had to do something with the level of studies with my family members had, until one day, a very dear uncle of mine, who has PhD level studies, asked me a very basic computer related question as well. This kind of situation, turns out, is not unfamiliar to friends of mine, even in different fields. At the same time, I noticed the opposite kind of behavior with younger relatives. Adults seem to be more fearful of breaking the computer just by touching it, even after being told that everything can be reinstalled, while kids seem to be more daring in terms of breaking installations in an OS, applications, and such. One excuse I always hear from my mother is, well, kids this generation are born with a computer chip pre-installed. We old folks aren't just wired that way. And while I understand her sentiment, I would like to get to the bottom of these questions. How is it that young children are more eager to use computer equipment than adults? How is it that we can develop an application that not only de-stress adults with the mystical arts of the computer sciences? How can we guide the natural curiosity of children in the use of such an application? And how can we teach them both something productive while we are at it? There are thousands of applications dedicating to children's development in app stores like the Google app and the iOS App Store. They are often received with mixed results and reviews, not only because of the quality of the information presented or the methodology used to expose content. These are applications for children after all. The real issue is how they are perceived by parents or guardians. The use of these apps with the right application and usage has often led to the improvement of thinking skills. Unfortunately, in many cases, these applications are receiving high reviews only because they keep their children entertained for long periods by busy parents that lack time to review the content that is reaching their children. Not really by children themselves or professional educators. There is also the extreme opposite, in which trained educators and interested parents refuse the adoption of these technologies as they view them as of a lesser value than what has worked in the past, whether that is true or not. In reality, is that the value of CITs lies within the use of technology alongside with the guidance of parents. There is, at the same time, a lack of applications meant to teach older adults about technology and relevant topics. There used to be the case that older adults will find technology challenging or out of reach, often justifying themselves with the false notion that technology and applications were only designed to engage younger audiences. With the 2019 coronavirus pandemic, there had been an observable trend of people getting online to get connected with friends and family with applications such as video calling and social media. creating the perfect opportunity to reach a larger audience of adults. There are certain barriers to overcome in the case of children and adults alike. The issue of perception in the quality of content plays a major role in the willingness to spend time in a new application. There are other barriers, of course, like technology adoption and ease of access to CITs. The proposed methodology for the evaluation of this paper will be based on a research group through a questionnaire about the perception of the content on the app. This will judge, in a quantitative way, how the app can be improved and what factors are not of acceptance among users and observers. Once we have established an evocative curriculum of topics for the application, like the proposed one, to alleviate the demystification of CITs for other adults, and develop a meaningful way to delivering content to both young children and adults, it will be necessary to take into consideration the perception of value for both audiences according to other researchers in the topic. Developing such an application is no easy task, but with the right guidance, we can help blur the line in the generational gap and guide both target audiences to gain necessary CIT skills for daily life usage.